There's some good news in the neighborhood for India. Sri Lanka has okayed a long-delayed joint project. Last week we told you this was going to happen. Now there is official confirmation the Trincomalee oil tank farm is a go. I'll be honest with you, at one point this deal seemed impossible. It was first proposed in 1987 as part of the India-Lanka Accord. Almost 35 years have passed since then. A lot has changed. The Lankan civil war has ended. A new century arrived. Multiple governments came and went. Through all of this project remains stalled. Thankfully, not anymore. The Sri Lankan cabinet has cleared the proposal. All that is left is to put signatures on paper, which brings us to the technicalities of the deal. Who gets what and how will the revenue be split? We'll explain all of that. Trincomalee is located in northeast Sri Lanka. It is very close to the international shipping route. The oil farm here was built by the British during the Second World War. Its capacity, 99 tanks, which is around 1 million tons. These tanks will be split by India and Sri Lanka. The Indian Oil Corporation will get 14 tanks on a 50-year lease. Sri Lanka will retain 24. That leaves 61 tanks, which will be developed jointly. India will hold a 49% stake in these 61 tanks. It's a big win for New Delhi. For starters, not many deals survived 35 stalled years. This one did. Plus, there's a lot of money to be made. Trincomalee is located near international shipping routes, like I told you. It is among the largest natural harbors in the world. So these tanks are basically money minters. But this deal is not about money or symbolism. It's about strategy. It's about beating China in Sri Lanka. In the last decade, Beijing had the upper hand. They made up 23% of investment versus India's 10%. They now control 10% of Sri Lanka's external debt. Plus, they have a 99-year lease on the Hambantota port. Simply put, China was colonizing Sri Lanka and Sri Lankan leaders were helping. The Rajapaksas signed lucrative deals with Chinese companies. They secured loans worth billions of dollars. The result was this, a debt trap. Sri Lanka simply could not repay the loans. Their treasury is practically empty. Foreign reserves have plunged to around $1.6 billion. No forex equals no repayment. So what can Sri Lanka do? Right now, they have to borrow money. But finding the right lender is the issue. China is not an option. International agencies are circumspect. So Colombo is banking on an old and trusted friend, India. Sri Lanka is negotiating 2 credit lines with India, one worth $500 million for buying fuel and another worth $1 billion. And the timing is important here. Sri Lanka has a big bond repayment coming up on the 18th of this month, almost $500 million. These credit lines will offer them some breathing space. But in the long run, Sri Lanka will have to rethink its ties with China. We have already seen indications of this. First, they banned Chinese fertilizers. Then a proposed solar plant in the north was discontinued. And now Sri Lankan lawmakers are calling out Xi Jinping. Meet Vijay Dasa Rajapaksa. He belongs to the SLPP, not related to the president. This is the ruling coalition in Sri Lanka. Mr. Rajapaksa has written a letter to Xi Jinping. It's a 45-point letter, but we'll tell you the important bits. Point number 6 is important. It is manifestly visible to us that your relationship with us is no more genuine and candid. Instead, you use our relations to achieve your ambition of becoming a world power. Further, you're dismantling peace in our region as well as in the world. Point number 7, your country initiated to make our country bankrupt and then dismantled our relations with friendly countries like India, Japan, Korea and America. Now, this is just a sample. The letter has 45 grievances, all of them justified, we say. From China selling vaccines at an inflated price to laying debt traps for Hambantota port, all of it is justified. Earlier today, we spoke to Vijay Dasa Rajapaksa. He says he even warned the government against taking Chinese loans. But he was ignored. Why? Because people higher up benefited, he says. Listen to this.
From the beginning, I was warning that government and both government that the China is going to trap us in a debt. We are going to get, into the debt trap of China. But the government continuously maintained their, that transactions of this nature. I think that they have been personally benefited. If not for that, there is no reason. If it is for the benefit of the country, there is no reason for them to enter into this kind of contracts.
The fact is, Sri Lankans are waking up to the Chinese reality. Tall promises, big loans, but no sincerity. Going forward, Colombo will have to diversify its partners. Look for money and support elsewhere because banking on China means inviting a debt trap. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.